Welcome to the Cube Method Design Context Check. Before we start, we have to design quickly a little garden, and then we will get going. So very simple little garden. This is the fence, the outline of the garden. And then we have a little building with a flat roof. We have a terrace. And then we have an entrance here on the side. And we have a planted vegetation here, a kind of a bed structure around it, a bed. This whole area is going to be planted. And we have some trees. I keep it quite intentionally quite simple to make it not too complex. So this is the structure of our garden. And as you have been taught, this is at 90 degrees angles, this little garden. And as you have been taught, we can tilt this now to create an axonometric. And the idea behind this is that you can check with the axonometric the context of the site, around the site, to understand if your design fits with the surrounding site. So the best way to go about this is you tilt it, and you can tilt it at any angle, but we do it about 45 degrees, okay? So 45 degrees to the 0 line. And I'm gonna draw this in here just that you know that is the 0 line. And this is the angle you're going to tilt it. So that is important to remember. I would say 45 degrees is a good angle, and that when we create the axonometric, to make this easier for you to understand, I'm going to switch the color to red and draw the axonometric of this, because this is not really about the axonometric, that's the easy part. But I draw it quickly, and then you get a sense about how this is done. Always to this angle at 90 degrees. So basically at 90 degrees to the picture plane or the edge of the site. So we draw this up. I'll just get rid of this. This is a flat building. It's got a simple roof. So just draw this by hand. And we draw the ground layer as well with the terrace. And we draw the trees. There's the one tree stem. And then you can get a bit creative about the tree. And there's another tree. We draw the tree stem. What's the third tree? Draw the tree stem. And then we draw the outline of the bed, the structure of the bed. The outline, so you get a good sense. Draw the whole outline. This is the cool thing about working with the iPad, the footpath. And this is the fence outline, so we draw the fence outline, or the wall, could be also a wall. And then again we give it some height, make it not too high. And what we should have done, but it's not a problem, we can do it still, is a person. We're gonna draw a little person here so you get some scale, okay? So this is about the right scale, so this is a nice building here. And then what we do is we switch to the base plan and we remove the base plan, and there's the magic of the perspective of the axonometric drawing with the person in it. And then we could go in, obviously, and draw this nicely and neatly with, with the, if you wanted to, and redraw this and then do it obviously on another layer. We are not going to do this because this is not what the exercise is about. The exercise is now to check the surrounding context. And the best way to do this is, again, we know now that this is the 0 line. And perpendicular to the line, you can put the parallel projections down. So you can sort of do this loosely. It doesn't need to be perfect. And put them down. And then and then we can also immediately go below the ground and put in the soil profile. So we've talked about before, somewhere here could be the water table, so you have a sense of the relationship of the water table to your site, etc. But what I'm really interested in is we will extend, as we did in the first tutorial, the outlines of the site. So the baseline, look at the base at the bottom, not the fence top, the bottom here. That's why I'm drawing it very carefully for you. And there we have it. And let's start with simplicity, and the site is flat. And then we can draw in a road, for example, a footpath. So beside this building is this footpath. There it is. There's a person here. Maybe it's a bit big, the person, so we draw the person a bit smaller. We have the other person. As we know, the scale is everywhere the same. So there's the person running along. And then we have, if that's the person, that's about 3 meters. So this is about the road width. That's the road we are drawing. And I can actually push this further. And then there's, again, this is not wide enough. And there's another footpath on the other side. And then we draw a line of trees. So we give it a bit of a dotted line. And we can draw in very quickly, for example, a row of trees. It doesn't need to be perfect, and but you get the sense. And we can obviously draw them much nicer, but this is not at the moment the idea. But the other thing you can do is you can now see and study, for example, if this depending on where north is, let's see, the garden is positioned in this way, north. So north. Then that means that the sun, for example, and this is we're going to do a third layer, and I make it yellow. Beautiful yellow. We give it a nice yellow. And there's the sun. And the sun goes from the west to the east, southwards. So you can draw the sun in here. And imagine the sun going this way over the day, which means that the shade, and this is the really cool thing, the shade of this, you can start drawing in the shade. So obviously the shade, for example, of this tree over the day will move, but by drawing it in, it shows you the shade of the tree, and then you can see where that hits the building. For example, if there's a window, etc., you will learn, this is something I have to watch as a designer in conjunction with the architect, maybe where to put the window in relationship, maybe the window, so half of the day the window is in the shade, but maybe that's what you want to experience. So you can use it as a tool, of a real thinking tool. And I think that's something which is important to realize. So it helps immensely to basically analyze a site completely, including the surrounding context, and seeing if the project you actually have designed, in this case the garden, relates, in its trees, for example, the shade of the trees relate to the surrounding site, also the impact of the shade. You can do this all on the computer now. However, at the beginning, to draw this out yourself by hand, you ingrain it, and in the future when you design, you will think about it. So when you, for example, have a project with a garden here, let's say here's your plan and there's your building site, and there's a tree, and north is this way, you just automatically remember it, that this has an issue here with the shade, because you have drawn it yourself, not just computed and looked at it. The great thing of hand drawing, it's thinking, it's visualizing what you are seeing, And I think that's the strength and potential of this tool. I hope this exercise helped you, that we can do more later on, but I think for now this is a good one to get started. And as you can see, it's not about the beauty and drawing in detail, but what it is about that the scales are right. And so that's why it is so important to always draw people into it. And then you can relate the fence and the sizes of the fence and the scale to it. So the scale and learning scale, drawing it to human scale, will help the exercise immensely. So I hope this exercise was useful, and there will be more coming. Thank you very much.